This argument that the Ten Commandments are the fundamental basis of our modern American law code is completely bogus. And it's completely bogus because we don't keep these laws. The only ones we keep: do not murder, do not steal, do not bear false witness. The only ones that we keep are universal to all religions. They're not unique to Christianity. They're not unique to Judaism. And therefore, they're not unique to the American or the Western civilization. Every culture does this. And let's do the first one. What is the first commandment? However you want to number it, right? Let's rattle them off. I am the Lord your God. You may not worship any other God before me. So the first commandment in the Bible that they want to post all over these public is you may not worship any other God upon pain of death.
Right.
And yet the First Amendment to the Constitution says that the government will establish no laws, right, establishing any religion or preventing the practice thereof, right? That the state doesn't establish any religion, and you can't be prosecuted for your practice of whatever religion you choose. So what it comes down to is the first commandment, which says you may only worship one God upon pain of death, is diametrically opposed to the First Amendment to the Constitution, which says you can worship whatever God you want. How is the first commandment the fundamental basis of our laws if the First Amendment says the exact opposite of the first commandment? You cannot make an argument that the Ten Commandments are the fundamental basis of our modern law system, of our history. Our First Amendment says the exact opposite. You have to pick one. Must you worship one God and only one God? Or is the First Amendment something of value and we have to preserve it? Which is it? You can't do both, right? Can you make graven images? Can Catholics wear a crucifix? Yes or no? Can Orthodox Christians have religious icons in their church? Yes or no? Because that violates what some people in Louisiana are arguing is a fundamental basis of our American law. And if we're going to violate the fundamental basis of our American law, a historical basis of our American law, then what are we doing, right? You can't say the Lord's name in vain. That's violating the First Amendment.
Right.
You can't say these words. You can't use the name of God in whatever sense. You have free speech or you don't. You have free speech or you don't. So that's 3, right? You can work on the Sabbath. Yes or no? Can you or can you not? So there's 4.
And if you do, we kill you, right?
Yeah, you pick up sticks on the wrong day of the week, you're gone. You play football on Sunday. If it's Sunday or is it Saturday? Which is it?
College football players or NFL players, one of them are getting
You're going to kill somebody, right? We're going to kill a lot of people. No more NIL, right? Everybody's dead, right? So there's 4 laws. Honor your father and mother. Well, good grief, right? We're going to kill a lot of children, right, for dishonoring their parents, and we're going to kill a lot of adults for dishonoring them. That's not a fundamental basis of our. There's 5. So how far along are we going to go here? Well, now we're not honoring. So don't murder, don't steal, right? Don't bear false witness. Those are universal. How about committing adultery? Do we kill people for committing adultery? No. Is it a good idea? No. But you know what? Neither is coveting. Oh, wait, coveting. That's the driving force behind a capitalist economy. That's marketing. People have careers on advertising and marketing, and that's how you get Facebook for free. That's how you get YouTube for free. You have to watch ads. Mm-hmm. It's advertising is. So this notion that and there's more than 10 commandments, but this notion that because do not murder, do not steal, and do not bear false witness, 3 of the whatever it is, 12, because we got 3 of them, which happen to be universal to all religions and all cultures, happen to align that somehow makes this 10 commandments the foundation of our is just nonsense. It's silly, it's ridiculous, it's foolish, and anybody who says otherwise is wearing blinders, right? They're looking for the speck in the other eye and they don't see the beam. It's illogical. It can't be held up in any kind of, let's say, objective court. You can't do it. It's why the founders did what they did way back then. Am I preaching too much? You're
right, and it gets connected to the backstop, because there's usually the little bit of hedging that people know that there's going to be the pushback to this. So then they reach next to Moses as this first lawgiver idea of whether it's these law or Moses as the law, this first law that set these things up, ignoring things like the Code of Hammurabi.
Moses
that are precedents.
That's right. You are right. Moses wasn't the first lawgiver.
No. We know we have the archaeological evidence for other laws before this one, things like the Code of Hammurabi that are very similar in format and in text to a lot of what we see in the Bible. So oopsies, who's borrowing from who is a whole other conversation. But if we're saying we need to base it off the first lawgiver instead, well then, okay, we need to go to something like Urnamu or Hammurabi, and that's going to be the precedent that we go with. Arguments of, in Louisiana, the governor said some things about what's in the Supreme Court. The 10 Commandments are on the doors of the Supreme Court, which on the back of the doors, there's 2 tablet-looking things with the Roman numerals 1 through 10. Is that the 10 Commandments? Is that the Bill of Rights? It doesn't have text.
So 2 things on that. One, but it's historical. So the other claim is now it's historical. But the 10 Commandments are historical documents. No, they're not. The Bill of Rights, maybe. The Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, those are historical documents. And if the Bible is a historical document and the 10 Commandments are historical documents, then there are a lot of other people with a lot of other religions in this country, including all of the Native American traditions, that need to be posted in classrooms around the country, right there next to it. Exactly like it is in the Supreme Court. You mentioned the doors of the Supreme Court. 2 tablets, 1 through 10, but it's just the Roman numerals. There's
just
no text.
The numbers.
So is it 1 through 10, 10 Commandments, or is it 1 through 10, the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments? Then they say, no, if you look up at the top of the frieze there in the Supreme Court, it's got Moses holding the 10 Commandments. But look next to Moses. I called this up. Who do you have? You have Menes, right? The first Pharaoh of Egypt who brought together, who unified Upper and Lower Egypt. You have Hammurabi, who we've already mentioned, who gave this famous first law code, from which many of the laws in the Bible are taken, often word for word, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, things like this. You have Moses, right? Moses is there with his 10 Commandments. So good. You're right. Moses is there with his 10 Commandments, right there next to Menes and Hammurabi. Solomon, okay, great, known for his wisdom. But you've also got, who else do we have?
We got Lycurgus, we have Solon, we have Draco.
Yeah, not Iowa Solon, right?
Yes, ancient lawgivers. It's all these ancient lawgivers.
Correct.
Among them all, Moses.
Right. Confucius, Octavian, Justinian, Muhammad is up there, right? Charlemagne, right? They put them all up there side by side. But for some reason in Louisiana, they just want to got their blinders on. They just want to put the 10 Commandments. And they say, well, look, it's on the Supreme Court. Yeah, along with Confucius and Muhammad. And this is the point. You cannot logically, rationally, in good faith, without doing these mental backflips, you cannot make this case, because the very first commandment violates the First Amendment. Who can you worship? Do you worship the Lord only, or can you worship whoever you want? Pick one. They're diametrically opposed. So, I mean, any one of these points, we don't know how to number them. We don't even know what they are. They don't match within the Bible.
Yeah.
And any one of these points just demonstrates how bad this law is. And all this law is an attempt to try to force a Christian perspective. This isn't coming from Jews around the country, right? This isn't the Jewish faith trying to force Judaism. And this is coming from evangelical Christians, conservative evangelical Christians, trying to force Bible into the curriculum. That's all this is. During an election year, by the way, notice when this law was passed. They're trying to get people to the ballot box. That's it.